Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this week's Theta Thursday. This week, we got very two special Karma Fleet guests, Mr. Bruden and Mr. Micromancer. How are you guys doing tonight?
Pretty good.
It's a fantastic day in the neighborhood.
I just realized, I didn't know this. We all have the same, well, Bruden's yours is different. Or not Bruden, sorry. Micromancer's yours is different. But Bruden and I have the same jacket on.
Yeah, there's some jackets in the room.
Reverse jackets?
Club.
I don't know what you're talking about,
I don't know what you're
Mifune.
talking about, Mifune.
You know the club that gets the jacket you're wearing, Don?
Yes.
Mine is a parody of that. It's actually an Or jacket.
Well, that's because the normal jacket's discontinued, so that's the closest one you can get now.
For under 100 billion.
No, I only spent $3 billion on mine.
Really?
The thing is, mine is not only Or, but I bought it when I was ice mining. That's how I was making my money. So the complete contrast of where you got that jacket, and yeah, I'm a crap.
I didn't have a jacket for 2 years. So I've been waiting. One finally came available this past 5-6 months. So excited. I'm just like, even though I look so much cuter in my Blood Raider jacket, I gotta flaunt it when I can. So
I'll always remember, as Arthur Fonzarelli once said, it's not the jacket, it's who's in it.
So today we obviously have two wonderful guests. I believe both of them are running for CSM, and both of them are in Karma Fleet. So we have been doing kind of like a little mini series on and off each week of highlighting a corporation in Goonswarm or some kind of entity in Goonswarm to talk about kind of their start, who they are, and letting them kind of self-promote, as well as telling some stories, and then hopefully getting into CSM stuff and seeing why these guys feel like they should be your vote. So first off, give us a little backstory on who you are, how you started EVE, how you got into Goonswarm or Karma Fleet, and we'll just start with Bruden first.
Yeah. Interestingly, the jacket thing, obviously I've got one too. I've had it long before I joined Goonswarm. I actually picked it up when it first hit the store because I thought it looked cool. And I've been wearing the same darn thing since 2015 when I started playing EVE. And even though I didn't join Karma Fleet or Goonswarm until September of 2018, I've still been wearing the B jacket the entire time. So maybe it's a self-fulfilling prophecy for me to be in Karma Fleet. I don't know. Spent a lot of time in Karma Fleet, having a good time, teaching people, bringing people into the game, bringing people into Karma Fleet, through the outreach system. It's a good time. I'm not sure what else to say. I love it here. This is home for me.
Okay. And then Micromancer, give a little backstory into who you are, how you joined Goonswarm, and kind of why you like Karma Fleet, or how you joined Karma Fleet. I know you told us before, but just for the audience.
Most of the stuff I actually told you before is not something I would go on about. A lot of the details of that are unnecessary. I've been playing EVE Online since June of 2018. I am an old school goon originating from the Something Awful forum, similar to a lot of the other people that you see in much higher positions than I am. I'm just some regular random dude. The thing about me is my experience actually started back in 2003 because I watched from the sidelines. I looked at all the wars and I looked at what we were doing as goons, and I saw all of the battles. I didn't know a lot of the people, but I knew a lot of the stories. And so I watched from the sidelines, and it was a good game, but it didn't really fit with what I was doing until June of 2018 when I actually installed the game. So I entered the game as a bitter vet that knew nothing. And in the almost 3 years that I've been playing, have amassed a ridiculous amount of assets, have gone directly the complete bitter vet route. And I'm doing that with the best corporation in the Alliance, which is the best alliance in the game. Karma Fleet has the most helpful and interesting people, and I cannot imagine being in a different corporation. I've experienced some of the other cultures through some skullduggery, and none of them even come close to the kind of lasting bonds that you can find in Karma Fleet.
Yeah, it kind of brings me to like the people that don't know what is Karma Fleet.
Hold on, before we segue into that, I just want to introduce Eve the puppy. She's laying on the floor right now. Not much of a puppy anymore. Yeah, I know. Just gotta get her to sit up. I'll move my camera just a bit. I know.
Hi, Mifune's mom.
And my mom in the background, so everyone can say hi to her. But that's Eve the puppy. She just got spayed 2 weeks ago.
Look, reception right now.
Yeah, there she is. Yeah, they can see her.
Great.
She's just laying down eating some treats. So, we thought we'd bring her on because she hasn't been on the show since she was a baby.
You were supposed to bring her on when she was tiny and adorable. When your excuse was she's sleeping.
Yes.
Speaking of adorable, Dawn,
we can go into that later. Let's keep that's a Debbie Downer. We'll get into that later.
Okay. All right. So I'll ask the question again. What is Karma Fleet? For people that don't know, there may be people that are in like on Pappies or whatever that thing is called that don't know anything about Karma Fleet, that thinks it's whatever.
Whichever one he wants to go.
1 second, my daughter just walked in the door.
That's fine. It's a together show. Micromancer.
Karma Fleet.
You've already given a lot of good props to Karma Fleet, but from kind of you're not a newbie to Goons, but a newbie-ish to the game comparatively. How would you describe Karma Fleet?
Fleet is actually misconstrued by a lot of New Eden, especially from our enemies' standpoint. They look at us as the New Bro Corporation, where all of the new people go. That's simply not the case. Karma Fleet is a multifaceted PvP corporation centered around being the best we can be, whether it's communication or information or in-game assets acquisition or how to do different PvE activities, whether it's industry or mining or whatever. We have the brightest of the brightest that can enter any facet of EVE and teach you how to do that, whether you're a new person or not. We like new people. We train new people, but to me, that's just not the focus of the corporation. We are everything in EVE.
The difference between Karma Fleet and a lot of other organizations that call themselves new player friendly is Karma Fleet started off by pulling in a bunch of bitter vets who didn't want to be bitter vets. They wanted to help the new players. And that's how Karma Fleet has grown. It's grown by leaps and bounds and has become one of the most successful organizations ever in this game because you have a fine composition of veterans who know how to play the game and have been around and appreciate what they have, and new players who are willing to learn from their experience. The guys who know want to talk about the game. We want to share our experiences, our knowledge, our stories, because stories is what ultimately drives this game. And to have new players come in and it's like, hey, let me pull you under my wing. I'll give you a ship. We'll go out and, rat or mine or blow something up for PvP. Here's a free frigate from a program. Let's go fly. And it's just mind-boggling how effective first-person actual caring can go in a video game.
I've flown on on quite a few, actually, Saturday Night Swarms. They're a blast. Could somebody maybe explain what a Saturday Night Swarm is, the uninitiated?
For the uninitiated, Saturday Night Swarm is a drunken fiesta. It's tough to verbalize, but if you're there, you're having a good time. I don't care who you are. If you drop into Saturday Night Swarm, you're having a good time because we go out and rampage the galaxy.
Oh, what happened?
My daughter and son are arguing over Mario.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Not even Mario Kart, just actual Mario. So, yeah, it's gotta love kids. I love mine. They're gems. They're precious. But sometimes you just want to reach over and give them a hug until they go to sleep for the night.
Oh, I see Blazing Bunny from what's that? NC. What is it? Northern something coalition?
It's
No,
just
that's-
Northern
that's-
Coalition.
Oh, but isn't it just like
Nancy
one great
Bach.
big fucking coalition? So who cares anymore, right?
yeah.
So Blazing Bunny
Blazing
for
just-
the other guys. And you want to say something about hockey? Looks like Zach Hyman just scored, bud.
Amazon right now. I didn't want to interrupt. I promised Dawn I wouldn't interrupt you guys' CSM interview, so I'll just wait until we get to the hockey part if you want.
Okay.
I promised I wouldn't be a disruption, so
It's 3-1 for the Canadians right now. I hope nobody's taping the game.
Oh, someone's gonna ruin it for you guys.
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay, back to Karma Fleet. Now, you mentioned some programs already. Saturday Night Swarm, I think, is the most famous program that Karma Fleet has because a lot of people bring it up in various areas. Greg already brought it up, and he goes on it. I've never actually been on a single one. So if you don't want to do it, it's not really that big of a deal, but a lot of people do go. I know you guys have a good time. Mittens talks about it a lot. But what other kinds of programs does Karma Fleet have that may be more unique or different than, say, STAT or AMOC or Initiative or anybody?
I don't know if I'd say formal program, because we have some of those too, but I'd say the biggest impact is just the culture. Karma Fleet has a culture of positivity. I was asked on a different stream this week, well, there's 7 Karma Fleet people going for CSM. Is that some sort of takeover? And this answer was simple. It's no. The reason that 7 people are running from Karma Fleet has nothing to do with the fact that they're running for CSM. It's the fact that the leadership pushes positivity. If you want something, work for it, aspire for it, achieve it. And no matter what organization you're in, that kind of mindset and character goes a long, long way towards developing a successful group. And I posed the question to the chat at that point of why doesn't your organization have 7 or 10 people running? And I was met with almost deaf ears.
Well, and the unique thing is if you ever watch like just the general tone of all the other shows, some that I'm on, some that I'm not on, we'll go after Brave or kind of talk about Brave, and they would say, oh, they're a newbie alliance. Karma Fleet does cater to newbies really well. They have a lot of senior staff in there as well, so it's a good mix. But why do you think a new player focused corp like Karma Fleet is more successful from my internal view, because I get to see inside of who rises up and who goes on to be, as you said, go out for CSM or become a director or run a SIG or become an FC. Why do you think Karma Fleet's better at that than some of the other ones?
If you give me 1 second, I just have to say hello and thank you to Ash Tharathi. If I'm pronouncing that horribly, I'm sorry. But I had a fantastic time. He's a great interviewer. Go watch his video series on the CSM candidates. He's fantastic. I just noticed he popped into chat, and I'm like, that was the first one I've done on a major stream. So I'm like, okay, I've been on the Meta Show to talk about Karma Fleet University, but to talk about Bruden, I've never done it before. So he kind of helped me through it. So I'm very much in his debt.
Well, that's good. Yeah, Ashtarothi pops over every now and then. We appreciate it. But the question, why is Karma Fleet seemingly, at least from my point of view, more successful, at least the newbie fostering into more and more than, say, Dread or whatever the starter thing is for Test and Pandemic Horde and Brave?
Well, that's an easy one. We are not a stepping stone. We are an all-in-one organization. We take in brand new players. We teach them how to play the game. We teach them how to be successful. And Greg, your eyes are beautiful, Greg. I love it. But we teach them everything they need to know, and they don't go anywhere. They stay to teach the next generation, and we keep all that knowledge and information. Our turnover rate is incredibly low, and we just maintain and build upon what we have had in the past, and we're not losing a lot of personnel and knowledge and experience. The SIG and squad system that Goonswarm has means that you can be a member of Karma Fleet and work with your buddies in AMOC. You can hang out with your buddies that are in Murchie. You can go in Delta Squad forever. You can go off and do all sorts of crazy stuff with everybody and whatever. You're still part of Karma Fleet. You're still part of, in my opinion, and I agree with Micro 110%, the best organization in the game. And you can hang out with all the other cool kids from all the other organizations that are fantastic and positive as well.
Also, by the way, all of y'all, Deltons, Delmoody, I saw you there. He said Delta Squad, so we got it going. All right. They keep bothering me every week to bring up Delta Squad. So,
if you haven't flown with Delta
there.
Squad, you should fly with Delta Squad because they're a lot of fun.
I do agree.
I just got to say, I may have been gone from this game for like 2 months at this point, but the Delta Squad Kenny G thing made me laugh so hard. After that one fleet, I woke my entire family up at 2 o'clock in the fucking morning because I was laughing so hard. Okay,
I sent it to my mom.
And then not only that, but then I see Brisk's campaign video while I'm working at Wendy's, and the customers are hearing me laughing my ass off at Napoleon Dynamite. I don't know what it is with these cameos, but oh my god, they're fucking hilarious.
Yeah, Theta's looking at trying to get her own, but we're not really sure. Any suggestions?
We've got the person, Don. It's just we have to write the copy. That's all.
Okay. Well, it's fun to see what other people would like to see. I know you got an idea.
I was looking earlier, and I was looking for like something like Jonah Hill or like a Bo Burnham or like a funny fucking comedian or whatever to do some stupid shit, but like none of the good ones are on Cameo. And it's
we should get somebody relevant. Like, what about Bill Cosby? Is he still around? What's he doing these days?
I think he's in prison, but that'd be fun. I
heard David Hasselhoff's on there.
Yeah, I know. I saw that too. I saw David Hasselhoff. Not even that
expensive. I wish I could get paid $400 to just make a little video as a cameo.
I know, right? Like, imagine,
you fucking can.
There's like some of them that are like $60, which are like some like really C-list celebrities, maybe even D-list. And then there's like one of them on there's for like $1,500 to just make like one short video.
There are even like a couple politicians. There's even like a few politicians on there and stuff, and I'm like, bro, could you imagine hiring a politician to say some of the stupidest shit you could think of?
Mifune, you need to hire David Hasselhoff, and instead of getting him to say anything, just have him play the Titanic theme song on a recorder.
That'd be great. No, I was looking at. Speaking of Titanic, I was looking to see if what's his face, Leonardo DiCaprio. I was looking to see if he was on there.
I'm sure he's not.
He's not. I checked.
He makes money. He doesn't need to do that.
I was like, could you imagine if you could get him to be like, what's the? I'm drawing a blank here. Like, what's the one movie with the dreams that people say doesn't make sense, but Inception.
Oh, Tom Hardy?
No,
Clockwork Orange?
No, Inception.
It was a Clockwork Orange, dude. I'm quite sure.
Yeah, but no, it's Inception, but Leonardo DiCaprio is the lead in that, so which one in Inception besides him?
No, but like having him do his character from Inception.
And that would be I don't see how that'd be funny at all, but could be fun.
Micromancer, what kind of movies do you like to watch? Are you like an action adventure type dude or a rom-com guy?
That is a very embarrassing question.
Please say
apologize.
Okay, one of my favorite movies is Down with Love.
I don't know that one. Let me look.
Oh my God, Dawn! I think actually you would love this. It is basically a parody of all of the rom-coms from like the late 60s, early 70s with all of those personalities, Cary Grant, etc. And it was just so well done. So well done. One of my favorite movies. But normally if I was going to go to a movie theater or something, I would be looking for action flicks. I would be looking for, the Rambos and that kind of thing, because that stuff is interesting. Escape from New York comes back to me now as one of the films that I used to.
I just watched that for the first time. All those like 80s, some of those 80s action movies I saw obviously on TV when I was a kid. But some of them just never made it. Like Escape from New York just never was on TNT or anything like that. So I watched it like 2 years ago for the first time. And I'm like,
11 or
oh,
so
well,
when
this
it
is where
came out.
like some of these memes come from. This would have been really fucking nice to know.
11 or so when that movie came out, and it was just the whole, my god, best action flick ever. And then like years later I watched it again, and this is an amazing comedy.
You know, when
Exactly.
I was 14 for my birthday, my uncle got me one of those Loot Crate subscription things where they send you a whole bunch of crap from nerdy shit, and one of them was a poster from Escape from LA. And I was only 14, man. That was back in 2013. And I went to my dad and I said, "What's Escape from New York? What's Escape from LA? Like, what are these movie posters?" And then he sat me down and made me watch them, and I thought they were fucking fantastic.
That's hilarious. Also, Greg, that's
Greg, that's so out of context. That's so out
It's
of...
not out of context at all. That's exactly what you said.
I know.
I can't believe I walked into that. I didn't even think of that.
Out of context on quotes. That's great.
If there were only a website where you could make $400 for a video, I wonder.
Okay.
Do you own an inflatable hot tub, Don?
I do.
No.
Best $330 I've ever spent in my life.
Is it
Really? How much time do you spend in it?
I live in North Dakota, so I used it extensively this winter. Plus, it was the middle of the last season Stanley Cup. So come on now.
Did it hold up really well in the winter?
Yeah.
Like,
My parents
look at that.
wanted to get a hot tub for the house, but the thing is our backyard, it's on a hill, so it's very uneven. You got like you take one step off the patio and you're on a steep decline. So it's like, now to get a hot tub, we have to get the grass filled in, all the soil filled in. Once all the soil's filled in to make the grass even, then we gotta get more cement put down and tiles, and then we gotta get extensions from the house to like
I'm already exhausted.
power
listening to
it.
you.
was like-
Or radical concept, you get an inflatable hot tub, put that shit in your living room, and you're done.
I was going to say, look over your
yeah.
right shoulder, Mifune. Look over your right shoulder. Problem solved.
Yeah.
The shit's dope. You're already comfortable because you're in your house in the winter, and then you add an inflated, already filled in hot tub in your house, and you're comfortable. It's just, trust me.
And then
it'll
get
make it
your
dope.
desk down there. Like, you could get a movable desk to go down and just play, Eve while you're sitting in your inflatable hot tub.
You can put your tower like precariously perched on a shelf above the hot tub.
Above the water.
No, if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it right. You're gonna get Call of Duty loaded up with your Xbox 360 controller and some Halo, and you're gonna kick back in the inflatable hot tub and play some Halo.
Oh my god. That would be funny. I was looking at what to see. And no, Mongolian.
Call it your Citadel. That's dad joke 101.
Nice.
Oh man, we had a dad joke fight at work today. Where you ever see those videos like on YouTube, the dormtainment ones, where you try to tell dad jokes back and forth, and whoever last loses?
Oh my
Yes,
god.
I
Yeah,
have
yeah, I've
seen
seen
that.
that.
I dominated. First of all, I went 5-0.
Are you ready to pop out 6 kids? Is that what you're saying?
I have a vasectomy, so no.
Bunny, do you know what makes a dad joke a dad joke?
Do you want me to actually answer you or let you do the punchline?
Nah,
I don't want to ruin it. Really, I don't.
if it's ruined, it's ruined. It's when the punchline becomes apparent. For those of you who have never heard that one.
Ha, ha, ha.
What do you call a cow with 2 legs?
What?
I don't know.
Lean beef.
Oh goodness. There was a plane. Okay, before we get distracted completely, I do want to ask you guys what your guys' CSM platforms are, if you have one. Not everyone has like a specific platform, I know, but what is something that you either want to focus on, or a goal of, or a reason why you should be added onto the CSM? We'll start with Micromancer.
My platform is very short, very small. This entire game is based on memories and the connections that you make with the people around you. And it's the reason that everybody plays for 20 years is this game is memories. And we need the ability to create those memories for other people and for ourselves and make the connections that with the community that we have. So I'm looking for things and ways that we can use to expand on that and to address the need for players that join this game. Retention is shit. And the reason it is shit is because there is no way to get them engaged with the community initially. And that needs to be addressed because you will not be a long-term player in EVE if you don't create those kind of social connections. And that's basically my entire platform.
What do you think of the EVE Academy thing? Because they do have an area there now where they suggest, corporations, and then they put down like newbie corps, and then in different areas of like the EVE Academy, they put in like what corps kind of cater to what that area is. Do you think that's a step in the right direction?
It is, but the problem I have here with that is it looks great on paper, and it looks like it's a good stepping stone. But typically what happens here is CCP will make something like this and then forget about it and just let it fester. If you look at their community page, they're like, okay, we made this page, we're going to make a way for the community to build itself. And then they just ghosted it, like everything that they do. And that's the reason I am running. It's because you need to focus. You need to follow through with the things that you have created, or don't offer them up in the first place, because people get expectations, and losing people because their expectations haven't been met is critical. That has to be addressed.
All right, Bruden, what is your CSM platform or thing you want to focus on, or what you wrote in your thingy?
I spend about 90% of my time in HiSec, and out of that I spend about 80% of my time working directly with newish and new players. It's tough to find people and connections in this game. I agree with Micro 110%. It's tough to build connections and build stories if you can't connect with people. I'm going to throw this in friggin' chat. Give me 1 second here. I've written down a couple ideas on how to improve both new player experience and as far as getting people connected, because the EVE Academy is a step in the right direction, but I think that unlike CCP's usual methodology, they didn't go far enough with it. I think that only including a handful of major groups kind of waters down the fact that not everybody wants to be in a massive organization. A lot of people want to be in that 20, 30-man group so they can have the small personality experience. That is perfectly acceptable. So one of the concepts that I've had is throw together a list of 15, 20 criteria, CCP, please, and make corporations and alliances strive to meet those requirements. And it could be anything CCP wants for their new player experience. And then as a reward for abiding by those terms, then each of those corporations is put on a specialized list that every time you open it, it randomizes. So there's no priority based on size. There's no sorting based on alphabetical. It's just a random group of, say, 15 or 20 corporations. And those corporations would be, okay, you're done with the new player experience, the new player tutorial. Here, why don't you join a corporation? Why don't you go meet with some players? And by the way, every group is unique. Every culture is unique. If you don't like one, try another. But don't leave the game because you think you're alone.
So, Bruden, I actually have a little bit of a HiSec question for you. So, with the new player experience and life in HiSec, a lot of the bigger problems that you are seeing with new players, and this is something that I have seen from people that have come to Goons as new players, this is things I've heard of from people that I know who I've practically nagged until they tried the fucking game for themselves, and pretty much every new player that I've talked to, even on r/Eve, there's been complaints about this, is the kind of gameplay style of people who make high-sec corporations, plop down structures, get their whole shit, organized, and then mass spam Eve mails, or mass spam the recruitment channels, or just kind of plaster their corporation everywhere, just dragging new players in and basically using those new players just to make a quick buck on their taxes and resources. So, do you have any idea of how we can solve that, or how we can stop these people not only abusing new players, but just straight up lying to them and being a bad dude?
Give them better options. Give them set the standard high, set the expectations high. Natural, and this is you. People may disagree with me, but in my experience, if you set a standard, most human beings will aspire to it. Even if they don't meet all of it, they'll try and get close. And if you have something set to where new player groups are set aside and they're propped up on a pillar and say this is what you should be looking for as a new player, then those other exploitive groups are going to fall to the wayside because they're going to be rendered obsolete almost overnight.
Yeah, I know when I first started, I was lucky because I am the social butterfly that I am. I like to seek out people for things and try to I mean, I do stuff as you said in high sec. I do a lot of stuff in high sec on alts too. And I will talk to people on local sometimes. I got to know my local code that live in the system that I do stuff in and built kind of a relationship with some of them, but not everybody's like that. So I think having something, I think they're started on the right track with the list in Eve Academy, but I definitely see your guys' point where A, they're not great on follow up, and B, there's no I agree, there's no standard on why they should be on that list other than they're kind of just the famous ones in Eve, right? Except for one of them, I didn't even know who it was.
If Bob Snuffy, Eve player for the last 6 months, decides he wants to start a corporation and teach people stuff, if he can meet the qualifications, and it should not be size based. There's no reason that only 1,000-member corporation can be new player friendly. That's bull. Mm-hmm. So you have to make it reasonable and achievable. Smart goals. Look it up. You make achievable things, you make measurable things, you make timely things. All of the standards need to meet SMART goal standards. And out of that, I think you're going to pull in a lot more retention because you're going to be connecting new players with the right veteran players that are going to help their game experience and make their game experience more positive.
Who decides what the right veteran player is?
CCP. They love to stick their hands in everything. You know this, Micro. So they set the standards. I would recommend to them if they come up with a list of standards, they run it past the CSM for at least feedback, but who knows if they would or not. But if CCP decides that whatever standard they want, say activity levels, say personnel numbers, say they want to have at least 20 people online at some point during the day, whatever standard they decide to set, that would be at least a measurable goal for people to look up to, which is better than we have no freaking clue, you're on your own, deal with it, which is where we've been for the last 18 years.
I wholly disagree with that. I think that the players need more agency in who is training the players to work in the sandbox. I think CCP has been for too long forcing us on saying this is the gameplay that we want you to play. No, this is the game that I have chosen to play in the way that I choose. And if I want to do my thing, I should be allowed to do that. And having them make the requirements to me is scary because I think some very good people would be knocked out of the running because of the way that they play this game. Doesn't meet the way that they want players to play the game.
They're going to mold it so that the new player experience is what they want anyway.
Aren't you worried with a program kind of like you're outlining? I didn't mean to stick my nose in the CSM discussion, but
you're fine.
Speaking about this kind of gave me. So I assume you've played this game for an extensive, if not, we'll say like within anywhere from 1 to however many years, right? So aren't you a little bit worried, judging by the track record? Is this really a program you're comfortable with CCP probably possibly taking on and then ditching it whenever it doesn't prove to get it where they want it to be? Like
that's a
other
concern.
Things?
That is a concern. And that's why it's something that needs to be continuously pressed. Like Micro said, push them, motivate them at the CSM level to continue what they've been doing instead of just inventing a new idea and disposing of it a week later. That's not productive. The only people who can truly influence is gamers. the people who play this game, the people that are active in the community, you have to make some accountability for CCP because they're going to do what they want anyway. So the best case scenario is for them to sit there and go, well, we want to see, 5 people online in your max time zone. Okay, cool. That's an achievable goal. Saying we want you to have active holdings in all sections of space, that's not achievable. It's not logical. So coming down to actually setting a standard, any standard at this point, in my opinion, is better than none, because what we have is a lot of groups in HiSec, like Mifune said, that go out and spam invites, and as soon as you join, they've got a 15 or not 15, but a 50% buyback on G to buy value, and they're making a mint off of new players, and new players just don't know the difference. They don't understand how bad they're being exploited compared to what any of the major new player friendly groups would do for them.
Speaking of friendly groups, we'd like to welcome Big Bill the Boss.
Bill just wants to
How are
hang
you,
out with
Bill?
Bunny. They're gonna.
Good. How are you guys?
Me and Bill are the best of friends.
It's true.
We're just hanging out.
We're mean to each other in public, and then we always laugh about it in DMs. I know I just leaked a huge metagame thing that people didn't realize, but
It's true. I wanted to throw in a question to both.
Yeah.
Since they seem very new player friendly. So I have this hypothesis, or this it's not a proven theory yet, it's a hypothesis, but one of the ways that you retain a lot of players is that you have a good, and I don't mean this to be like a hardball question if it comes off that way. I'm really not trying to ask a hard question, but one thing that retains players is like a good PvE infrastructure. Like, I don't PvE, I don't ever rat or anything. I mean, I have to keep my good standings with the Blood Raiders, right? But like, CCP's kept the same fucking structure for 10, 12 years now, right? I mean, is there anything that can be done to make this better? I see that they're making some efforts with the trigs, but I guess I'm asking is like, do you guys have any ideas for like, I guess PvE changes?
I have a few. Most of them are insane, but I do definitely think that PvE needs to be completely overhauled. I don't think we need to get rid of what we have. I think we need to expand on what we have. We need more activities. We need those activities to push the dopamine button in your brain that lets you want to come back. And the current PvE that we have just doesn't do that. You get a little bit of numbers go up, but in this age of scarcity, with the war going on, everywhere else in the entire galaxy is just devoid of people that are doing things, as far as I can see, really. There's people out there doing stuff, of course, but it's just not at the scale that it was a year and a half ago. And without there being active people out there doing all of these different activities, I think it's just going to dwindle out. So yes, we need to definitely address the problem with PvE not being engaging on its own.
Encourage people to be in space, honestly, and it doesn't come, and don't take that in the way of nerfing. No, they need to rebuff some of the ratting stuff, rebuff some of the mining stuff, because that pushes people into space to make money. You push them into space, they become player versus player content, or at least a target of. The more you incentivize people to sit in a station, the more you're killing the game.
I've got a crazy question, but it's been brought up before by CCP. And this is for anybody in the panel today that wants to answer or put their 2 cents on. How would you feel if CCP, or at least what do you think would happen if CCP implemented a maintenance cost of some kind on your ships?
Have you ever in your life enjoyed a game with depreciating assets?
No. That's why I thought when Hilmar brought that up a year and a half ago, I was like, you are high. You are straight high. No one wants that.
I'm going to put my 2 cents in on this, and that's a definite no. Look at games like Escape from Tarkov, games like Rust, games like, I don't know, like Ark, right? Like, nobody likes that, okay? And I wanted to put some 2 cents in onto the PvE aspect. Now, before I say any of this, I am not an expert. I do not have a degree in computer coding or anything like that. I'm just a script kiddie that likes to have fun. But it is my understanding that at some point CCP did explain that there's not, with the spaghetti code, and that this plays part into that problem, is the spaghetti code. The EVE Online combat system is a combat system that not many other games have, just like how EVE isn't like a game like any other game is, right? The combat system in EVE can be very, very RNG at times, depending on your ranges, your turret tracking, all that other stuff that factors into your active gameplay, right? And I feel like that a lot of people just have to realize that that is a fact of EVE. That is EVE Online. Is your turret tracking, is your range, is the RNG of what loot's going to drop, is the RNG of what rats are going to spawn, stuff like that. What I feel like they need to revamp is less of the combat system itself and more of the ways that we engage in that combat. Right, like I haven't read too much into it, and it's a good segue, but these new event sites, I read on Reddit that everyone's goddamn hating them for whatever reason. I don't know why, because I haven't read too much into it, but all I know is that everyone fucking hates it, right? So if they could figure that shit out and figure out things like, instead of just having 20-30 anomalies in a system that all act the same way, do stuff like you did with the Trigs, like the Triglavians in Poshvin. They will have random NPC fights between the Triglavians and the Edencom. Shove that in, like
That is the biggest dropped ball you could have possibly mentioned. I have spent the last several days in Pochven, and that entire region, holy shit, what were you thinking, CCP? There was just so much potential that was just ignored.
It's just, I feel like it's just that they need to, instead of having one person be like, ooh, this is a good idea, and then the rest of CCP just being instantly on board with it, and then it just feels like halfway through this idea somebody else comes along and goes, oh, I have an idea for something completely different, for something that is not related to the thing that we're working on right now. Let's introduce that next. And then they just kind of forget about the thing that they were doing the last time. Like I agree with what you guys said earlier. They need to finish what they started. And even better than that, they just need to, like, if you have an idea, focus on that idea, and then take the focus, really think about it, go home, take a sip of your beer after your 5 o'clock, and really fucking think about it. And then before you even actually put it in the game, go and play it for themselves, considering it seems like half the CCP devs don't even play their own game.
Well, I mean, let's just face facts. Most of the problem patches that we've had, they become problem patches because they're compressed together with other problem patches. When they've actually fit their model of quadrants and they've released content and they've let it sit for a while and settle in the community's mind, things tend to work a little bit smoother. Am I right or wrong?
I thought that the Abyss, I mean, it seemed like the Abyssal filaments were a big hit. Like that like they fucking nailed it with the whole Abyssal
have
PvE.
You heard the Hub Club? They're all whining about filaments and wormhole space now, so.
But I just don't understand, if you see that your player base is like super hyped about a thing that you introduced, why not expand on it more?
I agree, because it's like then we had the Needlejack filaments that got introduced, and the reindeer filaments last Christmas. Like, that shit was fucking awesome.
Yeah, and
yeah, it was a lot of fun.
They've created the 2v2s and stuff. I feel like they are, but it's kind of on the back burner of development. But you can see that they're playing around with them and trying to kind of take advantage of them for future content. But I think that they're so focused on getting this scarcity and weird balance changes done that they've put that kind of back there, and they'll probably add to it later.
I mean, I understand. So I understand the concept of the scarcity thing. Like they wanted, what they did is the what the real thing they did is they introduced knobs that they could adjust and turn that individually affect certain sectors of the industry in games. So if someone starts like a massive super proliferation of some sort, they can dial back those knobs and just only affect capitals and not fuck with the rest of the ships that are in game or the rest of the industry in game. But at a certain point, like the knobs have been introduced, you can start.
Give or.
Yeah, but like the whole thing with the scarcity and all the nerfs and all the changes and everything, it's like I get it. I get where Rattati's coming from. I get where Hilmar's coming from. I get it that they didn't like the state of the game and that things needed to change. And I perfectly understand if like you said with the knobs that they want to be able to adjust things and it's in a step it's in that step of right direction to get away from the shit show that is the spaghetti code of the original EVE Online, and that's great. That's really great. But the health of the players and having the players get so upset about most of these changes, especially right in the beginning, like the interdiction nullification, it's a great change. And it's the way that they brought that change upset the players and caused an outroar, right?
Of course.
And even though that, people were dramatic about it, even we were dramatic about it. Hey, we thought, Fozzie Claws were dead forever, but here they are, and they're going to actually start working pretty decent again. The thing is that I don't think CCP understands just how tired we are of the changes. Like, Poshfin was great. Triglavians were great. That was an expansion. That was something new, right? And then it's like you're just taking old shit and changing it, and it's not. It's just the same old goddamn EVE Online, and I'm tired of it.
Blazing, when's the last time that you purchased multiple capitals at one time?
Fuck. I mean, it was. Probably, I purchased a big chunk once they had announced the ore change.
It was nice being able to me and my Dreadhouse, I just purchase a few capitals now, but...
Well, it also, whenever you get to purchase capital alts and stuff, or caps in mass quantity, well, I say in mass quantity, relatively, right? And you can stage like dread bombs and shit all over the place. It just only spurs content along, right? If you make caps so obscenely expensive that people just don't want to use small groups of dreads for like killing effects or killing some carriers or whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever you would use small groups of dreads for, because they're now 10 billion Iska hull. You know what I mean? Like, you're just kind of stifling content. It's just the nature of people. But I also don't share you guys' overwhelming optimism in CCP's rapid change of things like this. Like,
I'm not optimistic.
Perfect case in point.
It's all terrible.
Do you guys remember whenever they introduced diminishing returns, and in the dev blog for the diminishing returns for Logi reps, they said it was something they could adjust over time to adjust for fleet meta and stuff like that. So certain doctrines didn't get super overpowered, certain doctrines didn't get super underpowered. Well, how long ago was that, and how long has it been since they touched that amount? You know what I mean? I just don't share y'all's optimism on stuff like this.
I don't have any optimism.
I don't think there's enough on the board here.
I said when scarcity first hit over a year and a half ago, I said it's going to be like 12 to 15 months before they put anything back. No, from kind of how they were just taking everything away. And now looking at the indie changes and how little ore is needed now for most ships, because the big user of ore was capitals. You throw tons of titanium in there for titans and supers and things like that. Now they need a pittance comparatively, right? I don't think they're going to make the anomalies better ever.
Oh, I just thought of something. So, and this is kind of a noob question because I never thought of this. Reps aren't affected by SIG radius, are they?
No. That's why subcap facts are so strong.
Yeah, why didn't they just do something like that?
Because wormholers were going to complain too much because in their wormhole fights, they would rather have one fax to keep their fleets up instead of actually having a real Logi wing to fight over.
But
it's the wormholers bitching.
Circling all the way circling all the way back around though, like I totally agree that the new play, like retaining players, is going to be the biggest issue, because eventually you're going to have inflation because there's not going to be anybody in the game to fucking build anything.
Yeah. That's what we told them when they made these changes. We're like, this is way too complicated. Like, you know, they're like, oh, you're going to have a market for the intermediates and you're going to have a market for doing all these types of things that were not profitable before, like gas mining. Most people, it's not about the profitability. It's because people don't want to do that work.
And it doesn't even, like, how are new players supposed to deal with like the logistics that are required in order to make this like their industry venture successful?
They've got this idea that you're going to make.
Sorry.
I was going to say, they've got this idea that, you know, if you look at how much it takes to make a Titan, in one row of the chain is like 12 different items. And those 12 different items, they've got this idea that somebody's going to be like, I'm going to be a specialist in 3 of these. And then just hope somebody down the line buys it to build the next level.
Where I really draw a lot of issue with scarcity is that you can't live in your own space, which doesn't honestly affect the massive blocks, because every massive block, whether it's Legacy, PanFam, Frat, Imperium, we have logistical divisions, entire logistical groups that can work as supply chains. Back in 2016, when I was with a little 15-man corporation out in the middle of friggin' Torrid and the middle of Wicked Creek, we couldn't afford that. We had Black Frog once or twice a month bring out modules. We had a guy do a spreadsheet, figure out what we were going to fly, what was good to fly, what did we enjoy. And he bought the modules and stuff, and we pooled our resources together, and we built everything else. You can't do that anymore. You know, you have to have freaking 10, 15 jump freighter trips full of ore to build a capital, at least. Tell me I'm wrong.
Well, and it's PI now, and...
Not to mention, once you build it, if you want to move it anywhere else besides just using them in your own space, which, to be honest, is kind of defeats the purpose of building them in the first place, is to kill somebody else with it. Then you now have to, because you have to use these fucking structures, your Satios and Asbels. So unless you're willing to anchor one near where you have a cache, which, fucking spoiler alert, now if somebody knows you're doing something there, like it defeats the entire purpose, like you're saying, of...
It's a content killer, not a content driver, which at this stage in the game, CCP should be looking more at endgame. What are people doing? What is incentivizing people to actually fight, not what do we want to incentivize them? And there's enough bad blood in this game that if you give people the tools, they'll fight forever. I mean, it's just a fact of life.
That's what I said on. I can't remember if I said it on TTT Tuesday or somewhere. I was saying it. It was like I kind of changed my whole concept of this ongoing war. Is that like it could go on forever, simply because of the fact that nobody really cares about their space anymore. Like no one really cares about going back home or anything, because there's like fuck all to do in your space at this point. You know, it's just like the value of having more than what we currently have. Like you could reduce every group down to T5Z and 1DQ, and I don't think like much would. I mean, it would change. I'm being exaggerated right there, but like aside from, there's no real value in holding space.
You could own one system to be able to build, or 2, you know, to be able to put your Sotios in for your super capital and production. Own 2 systems, and the rest of it just be owned by whoever the fuck cares. And it wouldn't matter.
Let me level this question, since I don't really believe in one-trick CSMs, honestly. And I'm not saying that's what y'all are, but, you know, I believe if you're going to sit in a boardroom with developers that already are kind of stubborn, that's a good word for that. Let me level this question at you. I don't know what you guys' predominant time zone is, but I play in US damn near exclusively, with very few exceptions. So right now it is double lot 56, damn near 0100, which in many places is prime US, and there is 18,000 people online right now. Do you or do you not see a problem with that?
Well, Thursday's the lowest week of the week every week.
It's still low. That's still low numbers, especially when you have an incredible amount of people that play this game on the eastern seaboard of the United States, right? And
I'll let me expand on this a little bit more because I just realized that was an off the bow type question. So, whatever night we fought in 3D with where Pro God FC'd the battleships, was that Tuesday?
That
So
was
we
fantastic.
set about what 1,000. We'll just round it off a nice even number, 1,000 people aside, all logged in some way, shape, or form in some system, whether it be staging or in 3D itself.
Sure.
We topped out at 19,000 people, like damn near even. It's like 19,010. That's only 1,000 more dudes or people, players, than there were right now. So that means we're looking at the probably the rough cap in major situations, excluding like gigantic Titan fights or whatever, things that pull a lot of people. Whereas in the past we've seen what was US time zone back in
22, 24 maybe.
Yeah,
it was usually 24, 25 on any given USTZ night.
Yeah, it's
Speaking of 3D the other night there, Blazing Bunny, I'm glad you brought that up.
Well, we murdered you. That was funny.
What happened?
I like I said, I only came to talk about hockey.
Well, let's talk about.
There is one comment I will make. I will make one comment about that is after I like made it my life's mission to hick scram people in like an Onyx and a broadsword. The tornadoes just shoot the fuck out of me every time they see me on grid.
You are neg 10 now. If that makes you feel any better.
I assume it's because the Onyx.
Yeah, and the name.
I think another shout out to Delta Squad for those
amazing
stuff.
runs. So this is a question that I want to ask everyone on the floor.
No, it is hockey time.
Hold on, right before hockey time. Hockey time. So
I promise, Bunny, we will talk about hockey stuff.
I want you guys to answer this question not as goons, not as Pappy. I want you to answer this question as EVE Online players and as CSM representatives. Okay? There have been points on Reddit made and points on EVE Online forums and points in both alliances as well in the war that this war has been going on for quite some time now, and people think it's beginning to kill EVE with how long this war is going. People are saying they can't find content anywhere but Delve. The Delve is the only region that there's anybody logged in, and then if you go anywhere else in nullsec, it's practically fucking dead. There's no PvP, there's no other Sov taking, there's no other EVE, right? It's just Delve.
Ooh, I would like to go first.
I'll go after Bob.
Dibs
Bob.
on third.
Yeah.
So, my response to that is that all you motherfuckers crying on Reddit, you are the same motherfuckers who are crying about capitals being able to crab too much and shit like that. Like the number one fucking content generator in nullsec and in lowsec were fucking capital rorquals, fucking supers, everything out there crabbing away, and then spontaneous fleets coming in and starting a fight trying to kill this, prized gem of a crab. And then all that went away, and the content, like before this war started, that content was already on a fucking cliff jumping off. So you have yourselves to blame for that. And I fucking told you, you fucking downvoted me, but I fucking told you.
I want to make sure that for those of you in the chat to see the funny picture that slowly but surely Elysium has built over the past half an hour for the people in chat.
Okay.
Here.
What? Are you shoving it in chat, or is it?
So for those of you that don't know, and I'm annoyed at Mike for this, Theta for the past 3 months has had an obsession with watching police chases, like live police chases. Usually they're in LA, apparently, and
they're all in LA, Don.
I know, right? They're mostly in LA. So we've been watching them, and they go for like 6-7 hours sometimes, which is fun. So lovingly, our group has made a meme of Pappy Abaddon's running away from Nick's fighters down the freeway.
Holy shit, that is a freeway in the background. I didn't see what that was back there.
Yeah. So that's from one of the live chases, and they put the 3 tech D pursuit and stuff. It's pretty funny. So sorry. Anyways, Bunny, you wanted to respond to the thing, and then Bruden after that.
What was? Remind me of the question. I'm sorry. Oh, the war.
Yeah.
So I will give you a short answer and then a longer one. So my short answer is this game is a sandbox, right? We spent the better part of the first chunk of this, well, since I was dragged in, talking about how the players should be dictating the outcomes of the game and how the game is, the direction the game goes, not CCP. So honestly, if you enjoy the sandbox but hate the war, then you kind of hate the sandbox at the same time. The longer version of this is like, it's not the war that's killing content, because I guarantee you, once we all call it quits, have a big high five, like, yeah, all right, everybody, good job, we all fought our bestest,
Slap on the ass.
yeah, and then we all walk our own separate ways, even if everybody resets their standings tomorrow. I guarantee you that doesn't change the fact that capitals are still so fucking expensive. It doesn't change the fact that the content creation mechanics are boring as hell. Like, none of that changes. And now we're looking at, why on earth would I ever do any of this ever again with these trash mechanics? So it is, I will tell you, it's not the war killing content. It's the game killing the content.
The wars part. I believe the wars are artificially inflating the numbers, so CCP doesn't realize how in danger things really are.
Mm-hmm. And
CCP.
I feel like
No, it's
another.
Bruden. Let Bruden go.
Bruden. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
His turn.
CCP has a serious issue with equating causation with correlation. They think that, we made these changes and our population goes up over the course of the next couple of weeks. That change must have been good. And they don't bother to look and say, there was a massive fight and everybody was logged in, camping afterwards, looting the field, whatever. They don't bother to look at the greater scheme of things. And I'll agree and disagree to some extent with Blazing Bunny. If everybody went home tomorrow, what is there to do? They've taken the sand out of the sandbox. There's no reason to crab other than keep your ADMs up. There's not a lot of profit to be made. There's not a lot of incentive to actually get out in space and do shit. So until that is fixed, this war is just going to continue artificially inflating numbers. People are going to continue to get bored and wander off. And when the war eventually does end, I think you're going to see our numbers drop off a cliff about 30 days later.
I agree with that, but I think there's also going to be a rebound of the players that didn't want to participate in the war and have come back to crab or come back to build whatever they've lost or didn't have access to because the war was going on. I think we're going to lose probably between 35 and 40%, which is huge, of the players when this war officially ends. But we're going to see a rebound of about probably 20, 25% of the players that we didn't have throughout this conflict.
Well, it may even be just subbing, because how many people have 15 alts, but they're only using 5 because those 5 can PvP and the rest are absolutely worthless in PvP, and why pay for them? Because you can't. There's nothing to crab with, nothing, other than like the few things here or there, and there's no reason to have that many alts logged in. I know of at least 5 or 6 people just offhand that just have extra alts that they're not subbing right now. So I think it's going to be, it's going to be an artificial amount of numbers coming back per se. It may just be the few people left logging in extra people.
This is why before you go, this will be short, I promise. This is why I wanted to point out the 19,000 players thing, because if we're at 19,000 players now, right, when the war ends, what is literally stopping any of those people from just scooting off into the sunset?
Yeah, I got a quick question too. All right, so speaking of the players who are complaining about like all the what I consider content generating mechanics, what they consider as capital crabs. Once they like really nerfed the whole Rorqual and capital crabbing thing, like, when was the last time Palmer's Bar fucking dropped on anything? For example,
they pinged today about killing something. I don't know, a Typhoon fleet or something like that.
But like, wasn't it like every day they had like 2 or 3 different fucking things to shoot?
They're like, look, here's the super, here's a Rorqual, and maybe they'd get it, maybe they wouldn't.
I miss the days of sitting at my PC, sitting in Theta Squad, sitting in a Harpy on one alt, sitting in
A
my
lot of
Super
sitting.
in the second alt. No, sitting for then. And then you would get the Asher ping or the John Hartley or the Asher ping that would be like, oh my god, Bomber Spar / Olmeca are active in Delve, let's go! And then it would end up being like a 3-hour fucking chase fest between us and people getting content in Delve. Or even then, it would just be, hey, let's take a fleet out, go shoot shit in Aquarius, right? Because, like, people were active, people were crabbing. People, like, I agree with Bill that the crabbing supers and the crabbing capitals and the massive amounts of oracles, moon mining, and locust fleets, all of that shit was content generation. I mean, like, how much of you guys? I look back on Pittsburgh's run on Locust Fleet. That's one of the last times shit like that would ever happen in this game, unless they revert those changes.
Details.
Well, I don't know about. So Pittsburgh is a unique creature in which if it breathes, he will hunt it. So I agree with your point
You
as a
mean
whole.
bitter.
Bitter
would be a more accurate.
He channels, so he's already bitter, right? Because the penguins suck. But now he's bitter because he's also balding, and then all this manifests into such strong hate fluid that then he just kills all capitals and super capitals in sight. He's really a good dude. Just a lot of untapped rage going on there.
Fun fact: the way to Pittsburgh's heart is Pokemon.
Is it really?
Yeah, he loves Pokemon.
Greg, what are you cheering at there?
I could fucking penguins and Pokemon, huh?
Listen,
Unleash Discord.
I spent a lot of time getting to know people in the weirdest ways. So, okay, so now we'll let you talk about your hockey. I promised hockey, so you get like some time. And I know Bunny's been such a kind sport waiting around.
I would like you can go first, actually, since it's your house.
Guess first.
Well, I mean,
go ahead there, Bunny.
So I'm stoked that the Bolts beat the Panthers. The series started to get close, so I was kind of worried that it wasn't going to come out. But now, like, all eyes is on, like, there's 2 or 3 games in the series that there's 2 series that I'm really, really watching close to see how it'll develop the bracket. So, like, the Wild and the Golden Knights game is super important because on one hand, you have the Golden Knights who usually do really, really well in the playoffs. But if they get knocked out by the Wild, of all people, in this next game, because right now it's tied 3-3. Whoever next game should win, right? So whoever wins will go on to play. Fuck, I can't remember who they play. But it's a weird precedent if the Wild take that W over. Because last game they blanked the Vegas 3-0. Like, the shit is wild. And then I cannot wait to see the Boston and New York series. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a series.
This is pretty cute. When you get anybody talking about things they care about, it's fun to listen to them get excited and like.
I love space and I love sports. The only sport I don't really watch is basketball because I just know nothing about it. But I'm very excited to see the next couple.
My coworkers constantly talk about basketball, and I'm just like, I don't get it, man. I just don't.
So speaking of hockey, I cannot really stomach going to any more hockey because my brother played hockey for 14 years in a row. Guess where I was almost every weekend during hockey season?
There you go.
I was at the rink, finding ways to entertain myself before
Dawn,
iPhones.
Were you a puck bunny?
No.
Yike.
Anyways, halfway through the third period, Montreal is ahead of Toronto 3-2. It was 3-0 at one point. Jake Muzzin just scored an unassisted goal to make it that way at 3-2.
For you dirty
it's a hell of a game.
Chat, I was like 8. So just keep your comments to PG.
Oh, sorry, Don. Jesus. Did I fuck up again?
Yes, you did.
No, you're fine. Where? Listen, as I said, my brother played hockey for elementary school, middle school, high school, and so I had to always just go with my parents because I'm the baby of the family, and my mom and dad would watch the games, and I didn't watch games. So let me tell you, you can get a lot of entertainment out of a Tic Tac box.
I just looked at the bracket, Greg. Holy shit, man! the Vegas and Wild. Whoever wins between the Vegas and the Wild has to play play Colorado, who won their series 4-0. Like that's going to be a really, really good matchup. And then Winnipeg will probably wind up playing Toronto if their series.
Well, Toronto or Montreal, right? So that I'm not saying anything's done till it's done. So
I do have a quick question. Do you guys think that they're going to add any more teams anytime soon? Because I know the Vegas one is the newer one, right? The Knights.
So
the team is
the Kraken.
Seattle. Yeah, the Kraken.
Yeah.
Which we had a funny joke on not Trash Talk Tuesday. On Open Comms that whenever they were starting to establish the Seattle team, the Seattle NHL team, they polled the population about the name, and the thing that the highest polled name was the Rain City Bitch Pigeons, which I thought would have been a fantastic name, and so we made stickers.
That's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So, Micro, Bruden, do either one of you follow any sport activity at all?
Last sporting team that I followed was the 85 Bears.
So the only reason I ever started watching hockey is I was deployed in I think it was 13 or 14, and I watched the USA Winter Olympics hockey team play the Russians, and TJ Oshie won that game in like a 6-round shootout. And that never since then I just started watching. I have his jersey from that Olympic hockey game.
AFN actually.
He's a hell of a player
for once.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I stayed. So I was at the end of my 12, and they were just starting the shootout, and I sat there for like another because you had to wait through the intermission, and then the shootout started. So I stayed late for like 2 hours watching that shit.
Nice. But yeah, I follow my daughter's softball teams.
Aww.
And other than that, all I have to say about hockey is any sport that involves carrying around a stick and beating people up, I am all for.
Also true.
I don't understand it all, but it's fun to watch when I do.
When I was in grade school and a little bit while I was in high school, I was actually on the swim team for a while.
Shocker.
Yeah, shocker, right? And when I was in grade school, my mother ended up becoming the swim coach for the swim team. And there was one time where we had practice. It was in December or something, and it was like 20 degrees outside. And the pool was indoor, so like we were like, all right, we can try to have practice. It was right before our big meet, so we were like, whatever. And we got to the pool, and we found out that the pool temperature was at like 48 degrees and fucking freezing. So we had two options. We could either practice ourselves or we could go home early. And since my mom was the coach, we had to stay there the whole time anyway. So I ended up practicing in freezing cold water for an hour and a half. And that has been
put chest hair on you.
One of the worst sports experiences of my life, having to sit there and practice a 100 meter IM in freezing degree water.
So what you're saying is it shrank and never grew back.
Oof.
Oh, now. God
damn, that hurts.
All right, well, before it gets too late, because we might end up getting cut short a little bit. Some of you may be wondering why there's a cute little doggy on stream. I wanted to have her name's Lena, obviously. I want to have Lena up so that way we had something forever for her, because unfortunately my cute little puppy passed away Monday evening unexpectedly. I went outside in the yard and she had died. No explanation. So she was a cute little doggy, obviously. She was missing an eyeball, and I wanted to just share her cuteness with everybody.
Yeah, she looks like she's a real sweetheart, Tom.
She was. If you listen hard enough on some shows, you could hear her snoring in the background. We
could hear the groans, right?
That would be my dog in the background. So that's why we have her up. We wanted to, immortalize her a little bit so that way everyone could see how cute she was, and she's very special. But so that's the only reason why she's up today. And I think Greg wanted me to do an animal fact of the week too.
Oh yeah, I got a Don's Animal Fact of the Week graphic to be made by Mifune during the next 7 days. Animal Fact of the Week with Don Rhea.
So just real quick, so the animal fact of the week is hagfishes can produce. They're these weird worm water creatures that can produce up to 3 gallons of slime in 3 seconds when attacked, which I think is pretty damn cool. The slime is a weird protein that only works when it touches salt water. Greg, why are you dying over
What in the fuck do you not think about what you're saying before you do? Say I'm dirty.
So that's why the ocean is so salty.
And apparently
3 gallons of slime, Jesus.
Yeah. It's not even like a normal slime like other creatures make. And apparently they're trying to, because of its unique structure with how the proteins react with salt water, they're trying to use it in different clothing and implement it for reusable and renewable resources, because these guys can produce it so quickly and so fast.
I'm sure the Hollywood prop masters are after it too.
I mean, hagfish are easy to find. They live at the bottom. They're bottom feeders, so they just eat up anything that's dead down there. So, and then they actually can drown.
Skeet.
Oh my goodness, no! But they can drown in their own slime, so they have a unique way to deal with it, which is they will knot themselves up. They'll actually tie themselves in a knot and then like squeegee the slime off their own body.
That's so it's so weird but so cool at the same time.
I know. The hagfish are awesome. They're really fucking ugly though, for sure. What did you want me to talk about? How like tigers can leap a certain distance? Like, what kind of fact did you want here?
We wanted the real fact here is for you to explain how the entirety of Tiger King is bullshit.
No, that would take like 4 hours. So, but good news, all of their animals got
taken away.
Taken away like this past like week or two. So good news. And he's not allowed to have animals ever again, which is great. So, we're kind of at near the end. Our Pappy representative has left because we stopped talking about hockey, which is perfectly fine. Thank you, Bunny, for coming. What?
He's a good dude.
Yeah, Bunny's a good dude to have come on. He usually keeps his
Pappy shit talking to a minimum.
Yeah, he's all right.
All bullshit aside, I'm super impressed with everything I've seen out of him. He's just a very professional dude. I absolutely like him.
Honestly, NC on average is very similar. They keep it usually together more because they just rather have their actions speak. Now you still get the salty Pittsburghs, you get the red lines and some random folk in there too. So they know how to banter and keep it up with anybody else. But they're not as vocal as some of the testicles are, or as naive as the brave are. So Mifune's gonna have to go here soon-ish, so like 10-20 minutes. So I figured we'll spend the last bit of the time, either if you have a topic you want to go over, definitely let us know. But in the meantime, how do you feel things are going this past month and a half of this 3-tag D invasion?
I've got my rapid fires ready too, Don.
Oh, we could do rapid fires first.
Rapid fire CSM. Let's do that for the last. Yeah,
let's do that first, and then we can hop into war thoughts and stuff and finish up on that. So rapid fire away. Who do you want to rapid fire first?
I'll do Bruden first. Are you ready, Bruden?
Sure, go for it.
All right. So I had to edit these a little bit because I got in trouble from like Don yelled at me. So I had to edit out a couple of them. Okay, so this is a series of rapid fire questions. I'm going to give you 2 options. You're going to have to pick one of the 2 options. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Boxers or briefs?
Boxers.
Amar or Minimatar?
Amar.
Beatles or Stones?
Stones.
Piggles or Villy?
Piggles.
Star Trek,
Really?
Star Wars?
Star Trek.
Harpy or Jackdaw?
Jackdaw.
There you go.
Why would you pick
It's all-
Piggles? Like,
Villy is
what's the
boring.
context there?
Villy's boring. Piggles,
Villy.
I'll actually listen to his stuff, and he's somewhat entertaining. He's
You like
maybe
the charisma?
misguided, but he's at least awake, and he's not going every 5 seconds.
Wait, Piggles is the one that just says every 5 seconds.
They both do. It's ridiculous. Like, I hear it all the time too. With Wendy's, I swear to God, if I got a dime for every time customer went, yeah, can I have a minute to order? And then you give them a minute, and they're like, all right, I'm ready. I'm gonna get can I actually change that to and it's just like, bro, it's so fucking annoying.
Yeah,
You should be glad they're at your friggin' restaurant, Mifune. Anyways.
I would pick Billy, but that's just because Piggles, I just don't want to believe he's got full of hot air. But go ahead, Greg, for Micromancer.
All right, it's Micromancer's turn in the rapid fire chamber.
All right, hit me.
Okay, I'm going to mix up the order a little bit. And there might be an extra question that I forgot. Beatles or Stones?
Ones.
Piggles or Villy? Pepsi or Coke?
Pepsi.
Boxers or briefs?
Mando.
Oh yeah.
100% of the time, there is just no choice.
Star Trek or Star Wars?
Trek.
Amar or Minimatar?
Minmatar.
Ooh.
Baseball or football?
Which one?
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea. I don't know anything about either of those activities.
Okay.
All right, and thus concludes our rapid fire chamber of pain segment on Theta Thursday.
I'm dead serious. It's been 35 years since I've actually followed a sports team.
Well, since the last one was a football team, we'll just put you down for football.
Sure.
We're taking a survey here on, ties to people that run for CSM and, what their preferences are. It's fine. But
Also very, very knowledgeable.
Piggles.
Okay, look.
I get
all right.
it, but
He's a character, and while you may not agree with the shit that falls out of his face, he does a good job of portraying that character. I just don't have any emotional investment in Villy's persona. He just doesn't come across as somebody that actually leads anything. And I have a lot more respect for Piggles than I do for Villy, because Piggles, while he doesn't necessarily do a good job at what he does, he is doing that job while God knows what Villy is doing.
I can get it from your
Fair
guys'
point.
point of view, but I don't know. There's just something about like the somewhat domineering, sadistic nature you get out of Villy that is much more appealing to me. But
Villy, I've never seen Piggles out looting a field while the fight's still going.
And that's a fact.
We had a fight where some newbie in a catalyst was out salvaging. While there's 500 hacks on field fighting, he's salvaging 2 feet from them. It was adorable. And I don't remember which side he was on. I think we blapped him at one point out of spite. Couldn't remember.
Can I ask one question while I'm here?
Of course.
So, Mifune, when are you going to upgrade from Wendy's to Steak and Shake?
Is that an upgrade?
I'm actually in the process of that. I have already told my boss at Wendy's that I'm pretty much going to be working there for the remainder of the summer, and starting next week, actually, I have a few interviews at various places to kind of move on from fast food.
That job you've gone back to what 3 times now? I'd be
No,
surprised.
no.
Yes?
I worked at
Yes?
Wendy's. I worked at Wendy's for about just about a year, and then I got a second job, and I continued to work at Wendy's plus the second job, and then I quit the second job and went
Oh,
from part
technicalities
time
here.
to full time at Wendy's. Then I left Wendy's when I moved to my buddy's house, and now that I'm back in North Carolina, working at Wendy's until I find something that's a little bit better.
Okay, technicalities. Okay, so you two, thoughts on the war, or whether you want to do general, or just if you want to, bring up points of how do you think things are going in the last few weeks? Either one.
War's been pretty interesting for me for the last 10, 11 months, whatever the hell it's been. Most of the time I've been watching from the sidelines because of excessive work schedule. Recently that has changed, so I've been able to get a little more involved. But overall, the war was necessary. I think that without the war, that we would have seen some very critical mass of exodus happening, and that I'm thankful the war has happened. I don't like scarcity itself, but I think that the timing between the war and scarcity was bad, and in the future, I look forward to the rebuild era because that is going to be really critical, especially for the GSF. We've learned so much about how we set up Delve the first time. If you think that Delve was a shit show for you to try and take this 11-month war, wait until you see the lessons learned because it's going to be amazing.
You bring up the rebuilding, but currently I'm doubtful on if anyone's committed to putting down heavy infrastructure unless they're absolutely not going to get
That's the thing,
harassed.
that we're not going to be spread out. It's going to be vertical. It's going to be an absolute fortress. Each individual system is going to be set up in ways that are going to be just virtual meat grinders. It's going to be so amazing. The rebuild section is going to be not us taking an entire region of 80 systems again. It's going to be us building the infrastructure in a way that is meaningful, that all of the players that we've got can do the things that they do in the ways that they want to, in, I wouldn't say relative safety, because I think hunting is definitely necessary, but the rebuild era is going to be amazing. And you can quote me on that because it's absolutely, I can't even tell you how excited I am.
Fortress Delve 2.0 is going to be, and even if it's
3.0.
not, if it's Fortress Delve 3.0, if it's Fortress like Declan 2.0, it doesn't matter. No matter where we end up living, if we do leave Delve and go somewhere else, like no matter what, like impregnable walls, like Wall of China levels impregnable walls type deal that you're going to be seeing, and it's going to be fucking fantastic.
Do you think we're going to ever take Fountain back? Or Aquarius? I'm sure we'll get period basis just because, like, you can't get to period basis.
At least on my, tiny line member head of perspective and idiocracy, my ideal situation is we take back Delve, we take back Aquarius, we take that back period basis, even though no one fucking wants it, right? So we take all that back.
Dracarys likes it.
They can have it then, fuck it. But I'm not going to use it. But, we take Delve and Aquarius back. We have Dread Bombs as neighbors, right? Test is fucking gone. NC and PH go to do their fucking thing. Test is eliminated, disbanded completely, CO2'd themselves out of the game. Villy quit the game, whatever happens there, just test off the map, and us and Dreadbomb having a great time kicking each other's asses in the middle ground of catch.
See, I don't want Test to get eliminated. We just want to,
Oh no, I want Test to get eliminated. They can go screw themselves. I want to see Test. You see the way.
I want them to go on knowing that they can't win.
No, you see the way that the Sob map is right now, where you don't see a damn thing that says Goonswarm Federation on it. I want Test to be like that, except forever.
Well, Bruden, how do you think things are going?
I think
How you
that the
feeling?
stalemate and the virtual lack of movement, I mean, structure grinding is a pain in the ass. We figured that out in Tribute. I would argue that I am cautiously optimistic. We don't know which way CCP is going to go. And that question up in the air, until we know in patch notes or at least in a rollout of a quadrant how they're going to restructure things in a rebuilding era style, I can't honestly say I'm completely optimistic.
I
I
mean,
like to see evidence of things before I just guess, and that's just my personality.
I'm just wondering what they're going to do to make your owning space enticing.
That's exactly what goes through my mind. Because if space is not worth taking, then there probably will not be another Empires of Eve chapter written about this game. If they make space viable and they make it so that it's worth fighting for, it's worth living in, it's worth, owning space, then I think this game has a long and fruitful future ahead of it. But again, I'm cautiously optimistic that that's the direction they'll hopefully go, but I remain cautious in my optimism.
The only thing that I'm kind of perturbed about right now is the fact that there are groups in the game that are just bullying their neighbors because there's no recourse. These groups can't fight back properly because they can't get the friends to help them because of the blue donut. You're looking at XIX is beating up on IGC because IGC doesn't want to pay rent anymore for people that won't defend their space, right? And XIX don't need any of that space. But they're just beating up on them just because they can. And
It's a sandbox. That's going to happen.
I know it's going to happen, but the problem is there's no way for anybody else to come over and help them out because everybody else is in Delve. Like, I'm sure we would love to send some Russian or AAU time zone people over there to poke and prod and hop in and have some fun, but we can't. At least not easily, right? And then you've got Frat running amok up north. They own the most systems in this game. Have you looked at Dotland?
That frat problem needs to be addressed very soon.
Frat owns like 250 systems. And they say that they're not going to move into Pureblind, that they're just taking systems to be able to project against Volta.
No, they're taking it because they want it to be Serenity 2.0.
Yeah. And you know who's helping them? P-Horde. And Pandemic Legion and NC Dot are helping them because they don't want to fight Frat right now.
Nobody wants to fight Frat right now. We would have to make up for Frat to even begin to put them down. We would have to blue donut them ourselves. We would have to get Test and get Pandemic Horde and NC Dot.
We would crush Frat like a fucking potato.
I don't think so. I think
Titans amount to deal with us. Okay, Mifune, we field enough Titans to rival the rest of the game.
Don,
and so does Frat.
Valid. However, without solid deployment staging, and you're not going to leave the enemy at your gates behind you, that's not going to happen.
Exactly.
I know right now we can't go anywhere. I'm just saying, like, beforehand we had a keep start chain all the way up to there to go say hi with it. We could, if Frat and them started getting frisky up there, we could send fleets up to go pedal paddle with them, right? But we can't now. And is Fed Up going to do anything? No, they're sitting there trying to suck Gangbang's dick out in Fountain. Is XIX going to do anything? No. Is AOM going to do anything? No. AOM is just trying to build up at least a semblance of a defense for when Frat decides to go down to Esoteria and shoot them, which Frat anytime would be great. You can do that. Honestly, I hope Frat clears out everything in the north and just fucks them all over. Be like, that's what you fucking deserve after you spend all this fucking time attacking us. Lose all your shit to these people that you've ignored and propped up.
It's pretty spicy there, Don.
What?
All
Take
right.
what 10% off that.
It does look like we need to move on to final thoughts, though. So for those,
Yes, Mifune's got limited time
Yes,
tonight, boys and girls. So.
apologies, family things, but so for those of you who have never watched the show before, or Bruden and Micromancer who have never been here before, we go around a room and say one final little statement or tiny little paragraph that you'd like to say. It could be about any topic that we've talked about today, or it could be a topic that we haven't talked about today. So we're gonna start with Bruden.
All praise and glory to the Pancake Cat.
Yes.
There you go. Micromancer.
EVE Online is an amazing game. I appreciate every single one of you that logs in and plays this stupid game with me. I cannot express how important the health of this game is to me, and how critical it is that this thing actually succeeds. Don't vote for me. I'm a meme candidate. I am a guy that's going to come in here and I am just going to spit out the stupidest shit ever. My job is damage control. My job is to get on the CSM and to do the best job I can with the people that I love to help this game progress. But if you don't vote for me, vote for somebody. Get out there, learn about the candidates, find out what issues actually matter to you, and get out there and vote. Vote for somebody at least, whether it's me or not.
Okay, Greg, your final thought for the evening?
Yeah, final thought. But I just want to give an announcement for the hockey. The Leafs tied it. They're going in overtime in Toronto,
Nice.
3-all. And also, I'd like to bring up that we're working on our first annual Theta Thursday Variety Talent Extravaganza show. And that'll be coming up the next few weeks. Now that I got Mifune back, we can start working at some of the, hammering out on some of the details. But it'll be 3 minutes of whatever you do, whatever your talent is, singing, dancing, playing an instrument, poetry, limericks. I know some pretty good limericks. But you have to submit your act, and we'll have to vet it so it doesn't contradict Twitch TOS, because Twitch can, maybe not be so receptive to certain things. And that's all I got. I guess, Mifune, you're next.
Yep. Mifune?
Alrighty. Well, it is great to be back home. The apartment thing didn't really work out as well as we had hoped. Turns out, for one, you need credit to get an apartment. Fun things about being an adult, right? And then other issues with not being able to find employment because I didn't have a car and all that other fun stuff. So
It's
I'm back.
not like any of us told you.
Yeah, I know. Well, you're
That's
living,
okay.
you learn. You're living, you learn.
Sometimes you gotta do it the hard way instead of the easy way.
Yeah,
so.
you're living, you learn, right? So it is nice to be back. I will say though, North Carolina summers, I fucking hate it here. But hey, everything's great. I'm happy to get back into EVE and get back into the loop. I am very excited to get into one of these fights in 3D that I keep hearing about, and all this other crazy shit with the bomb runs, everything like that. So it's always fun. I hear Pappy's numbers are down, Goon numbers are up, so good job. Somehow I saw a battle report the other night where we outnumbered Pappy for the whole fight. I was like, what
There's
the
been
fuck?
There's been
Reship,
more than one.
reship.
I've been, what the hell, man? All right. Anyway, I'm getting my tickets to EVE Vegas this week, so I'm super psyched for that too. So get out there. I'll see you all at EVE Vegas. It's gonna be
Your
fucking
final
fun.
thought.
But
It
that's
takes forever.
You
All
have to
right.
visit
Anyway,
the
done.
Vale in
Done.
My
Vegas.
Yeah.
final thought. My final thought of the evening is I'll see everybody who can be there at EVE Vegas. Let's go to Fogo de Chow's and just fuck it up. And then, other than that, hold your loved ones dear. It's been a tough month for me. For everyone that's in Theta that knows, I've had a lot of fun stuff happen this month. Make sure you give everybody a good hug if you own a doggy. Make sure to kiss it goodnight. and hold it tight. And Pappy suck a lot of fucking dick. And I hope that you guys keep crashing and that at some point we're coming for you. And I hope that you'll fall over like the bitches you are. And that's it.
Alrighty,
We're good to go.
All right, I hope everyone has a wonderful night the rest of the night. Go out there, get some food. I know I am. I'm fucking hungry. But good night, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye. Love you all.